Focus up. Focus up.
I was scrolling for ages now, looking for your claps.
It was confusing because we normally hear his claps.
Yeah, true.
5 minutes between each clap now. Brilliant. That'll be good enough.
We're really testing your patience and trying to
Holding on that last clap.
Get this
Great
editing
laugh.
going.
I know. I've only just got this editing locked down. Put on LinkedIn.
Have you got workflow like printed out? Just so you like, copy audio.
Put on LinkedIn. Yeah. Good old Sony Vegas 14.
That's the job.
I think I'm on like version 55 by now. I think I bought
14's got all you need.
I think I bought it on a Black Friday sale about 17 years ago.
Well, it's coming up. You can always get.
Little did I know what I'd be using it for.
Maybe it's time to upgrade, Benjamin.
Well, I mean,
now you have a big boy job, and you can
just set up a GoFundMe for the pod.
Metafy class for Sony Vegas 14.
If we got £1 from each of our views on our last vid, we would definitely be able to afford the new Sony Vegas. That's for sure.
Do you honestly think we'd be able to entice people to pay £1 to listen to our dribble sometimes?
I wouldn't pay for this.
Yeah,
would you not?
I don't feel good asking.
A quid.
No.
The product's not worth it yet.
They can never get their time back, let alone their money. So
they listen to us on times
right, boys.
3.
It's been a week. What have you guys been up to? Let's quickly crack this on. Let's start churning this out now.
Joe's got places to be. He's got to go.
I did well. Yeah, I'm flying at 4 a.m. tomorrow, and I haven't packed, so I do need this one to move along quite quickly.
You can see Joe just bouncing on his seat, like he really wants to.
I'm always. To be fair, I have restless leg syndrome. I'm always doing this.
That being said, the intro I did for Gdansk, I didn't pick up. I don't think anyone said this to me, but Christine did. But she noticed me just like jolting my fucking leg up and down the whole time. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, that's just so sad.
Well, I walked into...
And it was like proper bouncing up and down as well.
I walked into the lounge one
day.
Well,
it's the sway. It's when both of us, me and Ram have done a simultaneous sway before.
It's exactly what I was about to say. Harriet once was watching one of the streams back and was really, really laughing. And I said, what's so funny? And she watched us on times 3. And we were like that. So it just looked really, really funny.
Terrible.
Right, yeah. So Joe hasn't packed, and he's about to leave in like 4 hours. Probably not that long.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed watching LAIC at the weekend. I had a pretty quiet weekend other than that, so I did get to watch a lot of it, to be fair.
Benjamin, up to anything else other than LAIC, which obviously we'll crack into in a moment?
A lot of sport over the weekend. Celtic got a dramatic win yesterday, which was quite fun. Scared the crap out of the cat. She flew up the stairs. Last minute goal, Callum McGregor. Come on.
It was a great weekend for Chelsea sport, and also I still haven't sorted the heating out of my house, which is like an ongoing grief. But it's meant that we've got the electric heaters out, and the cat loves the electric heater. It's like it's a magical hot box, and he's now like he goes like under the overhang of the sofa, so it's like a little cave for him where he's like covered from the top, which cats love to have. And then he's like an inch away from this heater. So then whenever he comes up from it, he's like boiling.
Stolen all the heat as well.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the cat just another word for yourself, just hanging over the radiator?
Well, I'm sure when you heard overhang, you thought immediately of me. Thank you very much.
Oh, no. That's where I stopped myself, okay?
Nasty. We all know you hate fat people. We've done this before. We've done this on the pod before.
I was about to say,
putting this out there again. I do not hate fat people.
I was about to ask if Joe could lick his.
Not the only similarity. This is smut at this point.
This is just derailing at this point. But no, not much else. Otherwise, I have actually been playing this new game, which I've just been loving.
Yeah.
And I think I've spoken to everybody and recommended it, which is Dispatch. It's brilliant. It's so good. I know Joe's smiling because he's heard it probably about 2-3 times of me saying no.
Yeah.
But it's very, very good. If you like narrative-based story games with like, you know, your choices matter in the story, it's brilliant. Definitely give it a try.
Well, yeah, I had an eventful weekend of playing sports and also went on a night out to Ali Pali. It was a bit of a surprise. I was at like a 4 or 5 hour DJ set.
Oh my god!
My mates go on a 2 nights out a year because he also has kids. And normally he goes to like a day rave. So he's like home at 10. Yeah, it's out a bit far. Good fun, but yeah, bit of a Saturday recovery position for many hours.
That is full on,
Is
but
that
a great
thing,
day
a
of
day
sport
rave?
to watch. That all came out.
Exactly.
Wow.
Did you say that?
Is that a thing, a day rave?
Yeah.
Oh
Sounds
yeah.
brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Home at 10
Perfect.
o'clock.
Anyway, well, you can start at like 5 o'clock. You just go. In the summer, it might even still be light when you head outside for a bit. Yeah, but we'll kick things off because I did say we're going to try and move this along a little bit quicker this time. We're becoming quite regular more recently. But to anyone who's just joining us, welcome to the SpilltheTeaCG podcast. It is with myself, Alex Dow, joined by Joe Bernard, who's not a very happy human being right now, and Benjamin Rabayati, or Benjamin Yard, who's enjoying Joe's upsetness. Generally, I think.
I'm not upset. I'm just urgent. There's a sense of urgency today. Lots to do. This is one thing on the agenda. I did not need this pod to be today, and yet it's landed on today, and I've committed to it, and I'm here now, and that's
Joe was like, today's the only day, but didn't want to. But anyway, right.
Yeah.
LAIC was this past weekend. Obviously, it was a fantastic sort of 3-day event. Some we only get at the internationals, and it was the first international championships of the season in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I think we can quickly just touch a bit on day one, of course, as we always do, have a little look at how the tournament actually panned out in terms of the meta, because we were in a stage where this was the last event of the Mega Evolutions format. But I mean, this is why we probably can keep this quite short, because I don't think there were too many surprises, right? If we look at, if we even start looking at the sort of phase 1 deck analysis or the meta game for day one. It was Golden Go number 1 once again.
Yep, I mean it's a clear choice for an aggro pick right now. In a field of otherwise like slower defensive decks. A bit more Absol Kang than we've seen for a couple of tournaments, obviously off the back of a win and a top 4. And somewhat recognition that even with Cornerstone answers, just by having 4 boss and being proactive, you can get initial punches in if it's like an evolving mega, or if it's Mawile, and you can still cause headache for the Dengo. And a number of the more successful Dengos in Vegas were playing Cram anyway, and Cornerstone can pretty much always beat that, or at least the second one can. So yeah, I think that sort of paved the way for Mega Kang to be a popular pick this weekend. And again, combining the Guardians still make it a popular choice, but much more aligned towards the Jelly build. And I think that's, again, recognition of Dengo being so strong as the sort of big takeaways from our field.
Yeah, both Gardevoir archetypes making the phase 1 graphic. For the listeners at home, just once more, Golden Go top at 14%. Then we have Dragapult Dusknoir at 12%, Mega Absol Kang at 9%, Charizard Pidgeot at 8%, Gardevoir 8%, and then Gardevoir Jellicent at 7%. So those are the most popular archetypes going into day 1.
And for viewers, take no note of the bar chart, because it went a little bit crazy. The same percentage for Guardian Zard, quite a big difference there. So I don't know how they do that, but yeah.
I've only just noticed that.
Yeah, MS Paint is my passion.
This is certainly felt like a bit of a maybe an accidental copy paste, but it's one of those. Yeah, focus just on those percentages if you ever do look at a graphic, or if you use anything like labs.limitlesstcg.com, they'll have the kind of numbers behind there and build your own pretty charts. But yeah, I mean, what was missing in comparison to what we've had in previous tournaments? It would have been stuff like
Grimmsnarl, a little bit on the down low, Ceruledge, a little, yeah.
And I think Absol Kang, I have always been saying that Absol Kang is going to be kind of that deck that's been the wandering deck has been kind of a little, you know, it's going to have the spikes in popularity, but never break that 5%. But I think in this event in particular, I think now over those past number of tournaments, players have had enough exposure about the deck and realised just how powerful it is. And I think that's just why it's gone up that massive uptick, you know, up to 8%. And third most popular.
I wouldn't have expected that either. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit lower. Like maybe the bot. I think we all agreed like the bottom of the phase 1 we pretty much expected.
No, never third. Never.
Yeah, third is quite a surprise.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I guess it's one of those where you get this kind of massive influx of very, very, very good players picking up this archetype, right? Obviously, it did win Las Vegas with Tord at that tournament as well. But we were always thinking, like, will this... It's gone through cycles, right? What we've seen with Mega Absol. When it first came in, it was obviously it wasn't played by many people because it was only just released or quote-unquote sort of leaked to everyone. It surged up in some popularity. People realized it's beatable, kind of went down again, and then it came back up for Vegas and for this tournament, I suppose. But
I always thought it'd be a low popularity in most regionals. I mean, you know, regionals and above, like below 5%, just because of how different the archetype is compared to everything else in the meta. And plus, it's quite a strange deck when you first look at it, and it is quite intricate. And you do have to play your matchups very differently from one another. So I never thought it would break that barrier. I never thought it would be in that top 3 or top 4. But the only explanation I can think of off the top of my head is just players having that exposure to the deck now. Metafy guides, you know, enough appearances on streams, popular players and good players picking up the deck and explaining their choices, and that's the only rationale I can think of. And plus, it obviously does have a good matchup spread.
Yeah, well, I think that probably covers. I mean, do we have a best of the rest? They did have a best of the rest graphic, I'm pretty sure, right?
I'll double check.
Pretty sure.
No, they didn't. Only in phase.
Oh,
only in
they
phase
did have
2.
for phase 2.
But I can go through them. Just 2 moments.
Just highlight a couple of the ones just outside.
So we know, right?
Yeah, Raging Bolt Ogopon just missing that top 1 graphic only by like a point of a percentage. Compared to Gardevoir Jellicent, then Grimmsnarl Frostlass following, Ceruledge, Eden Zoroark, Joltik Box, and Terrabox, all making the other 6. Oh, sorry, and that was making the other 6. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, the day 1 stream did have like a whole host of like incredible games, players, decks actually on showcase as well.
I mean, literally from round 1, right?
Exactly.
So insane.
The 2 LAIC winners of the previous season played up against one another. Round 2 was Aban Ahmed against Gustavo Wada. You know, there's Henry Chow eventually was on there. Like, to be fair, with these kind of tournaments, there's kind of an expectation now. But yeah, I think it's probably right. We can just kind of have a quick look to see how 368 players or decks had actually made it into phase 2 of the tournament.
Yep.
And then we'll get a chance to, I think Ben hopefully has it on the screen there as well, the actual meta game for phase 2. Again, the bar charts are a bit dodgy, but yeah, just look at the numbers.
I think they actually copied 1 for 1 from the day 1 bar chart, I think. But yeah,
they can't keep getting away with this.
I'll whittle them over now. So we have Goldengo Lunatone at 21%, Absol Kang at 11%, Gardevoir Jellicent 11%, Gardevoir Linear at 10%, Dragon Ball Dusknoir 10%, and then Raging Bolt making the first graphic at 5%.
Is there a better name for Gardevoir Linear?
I mean, I could just say Gardevoir EX, but I feel like it's too.
Did it previously
it's
just
too
be called,
generic?
Was called like Gardevoir Monkey Dory on our
But
previous,
they all
like,
have
kind of
Monkey Dory.
graphics? But it's just like,
I guess it's more significant if it's a Gardevoir Jellicent. Yeah, I suppose. Okay, fine. Gardevoir Monkey
yeah,
Dory.
but I don't know. I'm just Anyway, but I think in terms of we can look at the conversion rates in a moment. But it was kind of interesting to see that Golden Go continues its kind of dominance at the very top there. I think Absol, Mega Kangaskhan, and Germany had a pretty good conversion as well. You know, I mean, if we just flick through some of the decks and the players that was piloting it into day 2, there were a lot of very good players. And then, I mean, over 20% of Gardevoir is actually quite a big surprise. I don't think we actually had it that high for a while.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot. Only because I think in previous tournaments the bulk of players have either flip flop between the archetypes. It's usually like Gardevoir Jellicent at 4 or 3%, but then the Gardevoir Mangidori at that 11, 12, 13% representation. But I think because there's a bit of an equilibrium between them both. Usually one dominates over the other, but both having a very strong showing. 11 and 10% of the room Gardevoir EX variants. So yeah,
and it's not like great. Like Raging Bolt didn't have a great conversion; it just did worse than Charizard, which had a terrible performance.
Yes,
by all accounts,
well, it's definitely gone from the map. That's the only deck that's fallen off the top 6. I can go through the
apart from one player who was at the top of the standings.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll cover that in due course. But yeah, Ben's got the best of the rest there as well. We do see Charizard at that massive bar chart of 4.1%, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ben the rest.
So Charizard at 4%, Marnie's Grimmsnarl 4%, Joltik Toolbox 4%, Flareon Noctowl then coming into the top 12 decks, I suppose, 3%, Ceruledge 3, and then ends Zarwak at 2. I just want to remind myself of the deck that's fallen out of that. Terrabox, that's right. Yeah. So Terrabox falling out.
Yeah, what's really interesting, obviously, in terms of the categorization of decks. So if anyone looks at the meta breakdown that was shown on stream and starts comparing it to things like labs.limitlesstcg.com, you'll see some discrepancies there because some of the different counts kind of mean they fall into different decks sometimes, or different similar archetypes. It might be called like other Grimmsnarl EX or things like that often pop up on RK9.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, otherwise, because I'm looking at Terrabox right now, I'm thinking like, in comparison to a lot of the other decks, it's still got a over 20% conversion on Robin's Limitless website, which is kind of interesting if it's fallen off like completely.
But the Flareon also had a good, like the Flareon was equally well converting to Terrabox.
Yeah, very similar.
It must be a categorization. There must be like thin enough lines in Terrabox or like.
They definitely cross over, right? Because we've seen like all the Ogre Bonds kind of fall into Flareon. And
it may also be that it's Flareon other on Arcanine, but then classes Terrabox in the Limitless data.
Yeah, there's
or vice versa. Because there's like a hybrid build going around, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Basically, no Pidgeot, but just has Wellspring, and then the Leaf and Flare that we saw Frink play on stream.
Yeah, I feel like that Wellspring Ogrebon has been flip-flopping in a lot of decks. I feel like it's been an inclusion in many different archetypes, not just Terrabox.
Yeah.
But
we even saw it on Bolt on stream. Kasaraga played it in Bolt.
Exactly. And I think it's a good utility card, to be honest. It's very easy to just splash in if the deck's capable to play it, and on a consistent basis for a 1-turn swing, then it has a chance of making some lists, definitely. And Saab is always good, right? So
yeah.
Any other surprises for you, Joe? I was just gonna say, sorry.
Oh no,
not really. It's like we said, we're at the end of the format. I mean, I'm fairly surprised that Zard's conversion was quite poor, seeing as though Dragapult's was also quite poor. Like you almost feel like they would invert each other and not be both falling down together. But again, maybe it's just. I mean, I think I was saying it last time in our tier list that Golden goes so like polarizing and so strong that it beats like a lot of stuff, and then the Guardies can keep up because they're the decks that have a chance into Golden Go, really, and then Absol the same. So it felt like the sort of Absol carving itself out to be in that big three then meant that Absol, Guardi, Golden Go rise together and then end up fighting each other in the top tables the whole remainder of the tournament, more or less. Whereas the others like take the losses to the good three and then fight out for the scraps, basically. That's definitely reductive, but like that's sort of how I'm seeing it.
Well, we've heard many messages in recent times about deck choices and tech cards and whether you're just going to find the right matchup.
And ultimately it doesn't matter at all. Right? So good point. Thank you.
So, it's one of those things we all have to consider now. But
and if you're watching this matchup data is completely useless. The phrase is completely useless. So just probably skip this bit.
We are now vibes players only. All right.
Yeah, simply
All for
outskill
pure
them
vibes.
with your skill.
But yeah, again, similar to day one, there were a lot of incredible players once again on the day two stream. I mean, again, kicking off from the first round in our day two stream was Daichi against Kieran Farah, Daichi Shimada, I should say. I think we got to see quite a lot of Mega Absol box
We did.
during the second day,
We did.
which again was good and bad. I don't know. Sometimes I like to see a lot of variety, but when you start to get to the upper tables, right, you do tend to find a lot of these decks sometimes do kind of congregate to particular archetypes, and that's why we kind of typically saw a lot of Gardener Bar. We saw a decent amount of Golden Go and Mega Absol box as well. Yeah, Ben, you got anything else to add from that?
No, that's right. I mean, in day one, you really want to try and you really want to try and show the amount of variety that's in the room, right? And I mean, we saw that on the stream as well. We got to see Yoshiyuki against Conkelder, which was quite a show. Yeah, that was quite interesting. But yeah, like you said, as soon as you get into your phase 2, then and you know the sort of meta starts shaping itself with only a small number of these different decks. Yeah, you are going to end up with the more popular archetypes coming up against each other time and time again. Yeah, I mean, it was a great show. It really was. I really enjoyed this.
IC is always great, right? We've always kind of often said that with the scale of these kind of shows now and everything that you can kind of do around them, LAIC is kind of still maybe kind of getting to the grand stages of like 2000. This is the first time it's been like 2,000 players, or in the Masters division at least. But they are kind of like almost Worlds-esque type events that we had, 6 years ago, maybe, and far bigger, in fact, in reality. So these shows are just constantly going up in terms of production value and everything that they're trying to do. Outside, I should say, of the Gustavo Warder's Mega Gardevoir EX appearing in the background, so his opponent knew he was playing a tech Mega Gardevoir EX, which is a bit of an unfortunate
bit of an
display.
issue. Yeah,
I swear we've had this discussion a bunch of times as well. Like, I know Bradner was the one that brought it up, but he's also been a victim of it. Of like, he's had his deck posted behind him as they were shuffling up. I don't know. It feels like there's just no communication there between like what production wants to show for the viewer and like the whole information issue that a stream generally has. Like, you could argue that the commentators talking about the deck lists throughout the game also gives an unfair disadvantage to people who have been on stream, especially early in tournaments, and that's a whole other thing. But when it's so overtly like, can you not do it facing my opponent? Goodness sake. Like, just flip the players around, then you see your own self and your deck, and they see their own deck. Like, it's so simple, right? Like, wow.
But then you'll get the image of Wilder again just looking back.
It's me.
Oh,
my.
There's my one-off Mega Guardi. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
just in the player. Just in the player.
It's such a shame because, I mean, in these massive tournaments where you do have that increased production value, they have all these HD screens in the background, and they do want to up the visual element of the game. So yeah, they will put these decks up, but yeah, the 2 cards are always shown to represent the deck, not one. So yeah, they'll have to pick.
What are your thoughts on if you play on stream? Because now we know in ASIM you get the chance to, it's open deck list for ASIM, right? What do you think about if you're on stream, you get the 2 minutes to look at your opponent's list?
That's
I mean, it would completely change the game, but I'm just thinking from a tournament integrity standpoint, if they're willing to do it at stages of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, I think that'd be a really fair way, because I think not that we've been people who've kind of suffered for it, but we know people who've kind of played particular decks. I mean, I'm only going to use Sander Wojcik as an example, right? Because he has historically like preferred not to go on stream too early, because he can't reveal all of his tips and tricks within his deck, right? And it does sometimes happen like that, because that used to be a way of actually progressing through, these kind of surprise factors.
As part of the
and then when it's a player like Sander, we have historically heard people like slow down the stream footage if he's on early, work out his 60, and like, they're looking for avenues and ways out and things like that, right? I do like the idea of getting a chance to like even the playing field to some extent.
I mean,
and just kind of making it a bit
it probably makes that game like it takes away the skill of that game that's on stream a little bit. I don't know. I'm thinking purely from a tournament integrity standpoint, but like, yeah, I don't know. That same issue for Sander is still there. I don't know what the best solutions are because undoubtedly it changes the trajectory of a player's tournament just because also just stuff like your adrenaline is like all over the place after you've gone onto a stream game. You've had to commit so much more like energy to focus because you've got white noise going into you and there's all these other things going on. Like undoubtedly someone who doesn't go on stream versus someone who has been on stream during that day, they will be like there'll be a disparity. There won't be one-to-one in terms of like emotional or focus or anything else. So there's definitely an issue to be had there, but this is more of a fixable issue compared to the general being on stream.
especially going. What I was going to say, especially going into the next phase as well, going into phase 2, you will have a chance if you are, you know, that really really strong record going into phase 2. Say you're I don't know 7-0 or whatever it is. You're more likely to have your friends and yourself, you know, kind of watch the stream, go through people's 60. What are they playing? What are the tech cards? So, I mean, because of that element being there, it's less of an issue going into phase 2. It is still a problem, but, you know, you can't really do much about it. But, open tech lists will be interesting.
It's definitely something we're going to keep an eye on because Toronto was going to be the first event where they're going to have the asymmetrical sort of open deck list scenario.
Is it not Stutt? It might be Toronto. Was it not Stutt? I can't remember.
I thought it was after the new year. But, okay. I'm sure someone will tell us. Well, maybe if anyone watches, they might tell us. But if they are, they might tell us where we're right or wrong. But we probably should move on because obviously then at the end of day 2 or phase 2 of a tournament now, we do get a asymmetrical top cut. In more recent times, we've been really kind of hitting that 16-player mark, which has been kind of cool and sometimes a little bit rough to see for a couple of players. This time, I believe we had 9, or was it 10? 9, I think it was 9.
It was 9,
yeah.
So Gabriel was the only player with a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? That's not right.
It says a topic straight.
Everyone else played ASIM, no?
I think only one person played ASIM. I thought that was only Benny Billinger.
Oh, was it only one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've done it the wrong way around. Yeah.
I was confused. If you click on I don't know, Ben, if you've got the labs up. If you click on pairings and go to 15, I think I've just clicked on.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly that. So it's only one table playing.
Yeah. So if you are, actually, that's actually quite a nice way to look at it, Ben. If you can click on pairings at the top. For if anyone's watching on YouTube, and then click on round 15. That's actually a way of showing our top cut, basically.
It's just Benny against Akira.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Such a great name,
and then the rest have a bye. Akira Kurosaki.
Great film.
But yeah, Ben, do you want to highlight very quickly who are our top 9?
Yeah, sure. I'll go from the bottom. So we have Akira Kurosaki, then we have Belly Bellinger, then we have I always throw this Ilya Kornilov. Definitely said that wrong. Justin Templar. Then we have Simon Trottier Lacassi. Definitely said that wrong. Apologies. Then we have Yoshiyuki Yamaguchi, Sebastian Lashmet, and then we have Pedro Petrucci.
And Gabriel Fernandez.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying.
Which is why this is why I said to stay on that page that was pairings and round 15, because then you could just see all of the 9 players. Anyway, really interesting. We got to 9 players in our phase 2. Again, we saw a lot of, I say, pretty good Pokemon in our top 8s, top 4s, both our top 4s, just say, because we did get to see Justin Templar, who's also another aged up senior, who's also doing super well as well.
I think Benny's only recent as well, right? Pretty
Benny's this is maybe his second season.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, Justin Templar against Sebastian Lashmet in top 8. We then, of course, saw both top 4s. Pedro against Yoshiyuki, who, I mean, I've just seen some of the tweets where Yoshiyuki was actually kind of sending out. He was like, I'm so not used to playing best of 3 because obviously it's from the TPC region. But then Pedro won that. And then, of course, we had our other top 4 match, which was Gabriel Fernandez against Sebastian Lashmet as well. What was sort of the breakout of the deck? So did you roughly have?
Yeah, I'll break it down. So we have 3 Goldigo, Lunatone. We have 2 Absol, Kangaskhan, 1 Dragapult, Dusknoir, and then 2 Gardevoir, Jellicent. And then
it's actually quite a nice representative.
And the Zard Pidgeot.
And then the 1 Zard Pidgeot.
Yeah. Other than the Zard Pidgeot, it sounds like quite a nice representative of like the top 4 decks, right?
Yeah,
3 decks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting to see it actually come down to converge to that space. I guess we keep kind of erring on the side of caution when we kind of keep talking about this Charizard player. We saw Gabriel quite a few times over the stream. He did win his top 4 match, and the expectation heading into the Sunday Championship final was that he was going to be there facing off against his fellow compatriot in Pedro Patuzzi. There's obviously a lot of talk that suddenly happened on the Sunday, and then we found out that due to a change because of a post-game decision, that Sebastian Lashmet was then pushed forward into the final instead. I wonder how crazy that would have been at that point for Sebastian to find out that he was suddenly going to be playing a final, or when he even found out. Because you never know what he would have been up to, or maybe I don't know when this decision was made. So that seemed kind of crazy. But we won't touch on it for too long because there's been already a lot of conversation about it. But Gabriel Fernandez did unfortunately get taken out of the tournament.
Disqualified from the tournament.
Yeah, DQ'd,
Yeah.
Why are you skirting around it?
I mentioned it as if he was like taken out back.
Yeah, I know. Don't say that.
That's worse. I've ruined it.
He was taken out.
But he was undefeated in the tournament. With Charizard. He did face a lot of like good sort of favorable matchups, which is kind of something he's kind of mentioned throughout his interviews. But I guess just any very quick thoughts. We've all discussed this. Everyone's discussed this in their own WhatsApp and chats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so the couple of bits of context. This is a player that has been disqualified before. Has a lot of incredible results behind them. Has shown their skill on stream many times. So no question they're an excellent player. There's a discussion to be had where there's been multiple allegations, even in tournaments where there's not been a disqualification around Gabriel. So I think there's definitely a cloud around their results. We only know the context of the player. Like Gabriel has done a post saying what he was told by the judges. Now, TPCI's sort of policy on disqualifications is to not really talk about it, and judges certainly won't talk about it. As to why. So you can choose to agree or disagree with Gabriel's post. I mean, my personal feeling is that if you're willing to cheat at a tournament, you're willing to lie about how you were disqualified from a tournament. That's not me calling him a cheat, but I'm saying if someone has cheated, there's nothing stopping someone from creating their own narrative in that situation. I think there was a lot of toxic discourse on Twitter, not least because it started like at a time when everyone at the tournament itself were sleeping, and then all these like silly posts started coming out, and then the arguing started, and the false posts and the misinformation and all this stuff that was just completely unhelpful. And then there was more and more discourse that was kind of distasteful, verging on like bullying of essentially a kid, right? But I also think that ultimately, if there are cheats in the game and we respect our judge's decision, and that for such a high profile case, this would not have been taken lightly, probably many people in discussion, whether it was stream footage or other game, like during other points of the game, you would argue it's likely to be stream footage because of the point in the tournament at which the DQ was given. As to why it was a disqualification.
It's concrete evidence as well, isn't it? It's there.
What do you mean?
The stream footage, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. If there
Right.
is
So
streaming footage to be
people
used,
are So it's likely that there will be multiple judges looking at footage if they think it's footage based, right?
Yes,
they would have to consider every bit of evidence before they even come to a decision like this.
Yeah.
This would have to go through multiple layers or levels of judges, head judges, like everyone involved who has some sort of quote unquote skin in the game, because production suddenly are involved as well with the whole streaming aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate from a production perspective, because no one wants to, in reality, especially Pokemon as well, don't want to see something like this happen, right? Where they have to come into question about the actual integrity of the tournament and how things have kind of happened across the whole weekend. But at the same time, yeah, there shouldn't be necessarily the type of discourse that we've seen in some ways. There's also shouldn't be like discourse necessarily on Pokemon in terms of their kind of communication aspects of things, because they could end up just kind of fanning the fire even more if they just put out anything, right?
Yeah.
So you believe it? You believe their current policy is correct to not talk about the decision?
I've kind of said it maybe in another conversation before, but I feel like if you come out with too much information, I think it's a lose-lose situation, basically.
Yes.
So I feel like there's a level of information that they probably could say, and I think it should always be like something to do with what policy may have been broken. I think that's probably.
I mean, the fact
easiest
that they literally didn't acknowledge what had happened to Gabrielle is probably the thing that I take issue with, which sounds like what you are. But also,
exactly.
if they put out a post of a snippet of shuffling or whatever else it was, I can see how that would come under scrutiny.
Because at the end of the day, they are a family-friendly sort of company organization. Like it's Pokemon, right? So they don't want to bring themselves into disrepute as well, that they're doing this great thing, that they're putting so much on the line in terms of pricing, in terms of production, and all these other things. And then basically it's like, because we're doing that, it almost encourages potential cheaters into the game because of what's at stake. It's like all of these little things that they can start kind of going into. And look, I also, it's really hard. I think we're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Because even the judges, they can't really come out and say anything, because then they'll get they'll get thrown under the bus a little bit if they
it's
said
giving instruction
anything.
to not as well, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. So it's one of those unfortunate scenarios.
Yeah, it's a tough topic, isn't it? Because although as a player and as a member of the community, you want to know the rationale as to why this player was DQ'd. And yes, I agree with Joe with the fact that, this is a person that's disqualified who is, if a player's been disqualified for cheating, then why would you believe they would? I completely agree with that sentiment. And knowing that Pokemon won't say anything because they haven't in the past, so they haven't made a statement. But at the same time, I can understand why they wouldn't make a statement. You don't want any negative discourse around your game, your brand. You don't want any potential future issues around the player. You don't want the player to be scrutinized, or because this person, I mean, it is a person at the end of the day. It's not just a player, it's a human being, and in Gabriel's case, a very young person. So it's a very difficult situation, not just because it's a scenario of somebody cheating at a very high level and very high stakes and at almost the pinnacle of the game. This is the second biggest tier tournament other than Worlds, but also you have the personal aspect to it. So yeah, it's a tough situation, and my thoughts around it are a bit 50-50. And I think the unfortunate part for me is that, this person has gone on a run of accomplishments that has been unheard of. Last year as a senior, they won 4 internationals. They came second at Worlds, and unfortunately for me, that has to come under some slight scrutiny, because if that person has been DQ'd for cheating, you have to think, well, naturally you think, well, if they have been, how long have they been doing it? And it's an unfortunate situation, because the whole community will be thinking, well, they've stolen opportunities from other players, and of course those players who would have lost those finals will be thinking pretty hard on themselves right now. It's a tough situation, always is with these sorts of things.
I mean, I think the sweeping under the rug of it is the only thing that I really take issue with on the TPCI side. Like, I think, and at least an acknowledgement is important. And I also think, for me, the takeaway I really have is that I would like to see more scrutiny to the lower age divisions of players in terms of a judging side of things, because I feel like this isn't the first time that something like this has happened where
No.
I mean, it's been a few years, but I remember Michael Long being a player who had incredible accolades throughout the senior division. And within about a season of playing in the Masters division, I'm going to use the term snuffed out, which is probably not the right term, but I think this case of Michael's cheating was unequivocally cheating and that he was sitting on a Greninja break. Like, it doesn't get any clearer than that, that there's no way that that happens by accident. Michael was a player that definitely cheated and was rightfully banned, and came back to the game a few years later and played a couple of tournaments, and then nothing really happened, sort of petered out or whatever. But I think there should, like, the fact that it was able to go on for so long in seniors was a concern for me. And like, obviously there's going to be more scrutiny at the top level of the game and masters and stuff, but I think the policy of like, oh, these kids are just making mistakes, and like, fair enough, how many times do we see genuine mistakes on the stream that causes judge review? Like, quite a lot. But also I think that generally there's a culture of they're just kids, they made a mistake, this, that, and the other. But I also think there should be a point where if it's a young adult making, like, going to these tournaments every month, like every month, and consistently getting, I mean, again, like, I don't want to doubt his ability, because he clearly has incredible ability as a player, because we've seen that demonstrated on stream so much. And we've probably seen more games of him than basically any senior, just by the fact that he's always in the finals, and we only really show coverage of finals. But I just think more generally, there's a culture of they'll only be scrutinized in masters, and I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, I think it's just a case that what it feels like you're trying to say is like stamp it out early. If it ever, you don't ever want it to become a running thing where someone
again, like,
take an opportunity and then continues to run with that opportunity, right? You want to try and nip that in the bud early, and then set the tone for there will be a point where this even becomes even more scrutinized. You don't want that to happen, and it's like
because unfortunately, if there's no ramifications for cheating lower age division, like, of course they're gonna cheat.
And it's unfortunate because they're not only it's if they are letting it go and they are letting that kind of bubble grow bigger and bigger. You know, we've got to the point where Gabriel's in Masters now, and the same as Michael Long, and you know, you're talking about big money prizes now, aren't you? You know, everybody's been well versed on how much Gabriel has won in prize money over the past couple of years. You know, we're talking big money and big accolades.
I only use Michael as the example because it's egregious cheating, and he was a senior for a long time, getting incredible accolades. So, like, that's a comparison I'm making, not in the fact that I think this is as black and white for Gabriel as it was for Michael. I want to make that clear. And like, I wasn't at the LAIC. I don't know any of the detail. Like, we're not privy to any additional knowledge.
Yeah, none of us.
I'm not even spoken to any judges that were at LAIC for any like additional context whatsoever. You know, so like, I'm completely in the dark here. And
the red ribbon at the bottom,
like, not financial advice or whatever. Right. So like, I really don't want to, like, I know I'm coming pretty hard, like from a pretty hard angle here, but I'm also very much like, if Gabriel is not banned, I like don't mind him being back at the next tournament, for example. Personally.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like, I will completely accept the judge's decision on everything.
I think we can draw the line here. One final line for you, go on, Ben.
I was about to say, we've had plenty of players DQ'd in the past from regionals and internationals and even cups for you know, dodgy sleeves or whatever. I say dodgy, you know what I mean, misshapen sleeves or whatever it is for marking, and you know, they're back at the next tournament, and quite rightly. You know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. But... yeah, we'll draw the line there. I think Joe, when Joe said his first piece, I think that was pretty clear in terms of our general stance with all of this. Like, we're not necessarily last kind of thing. We're not necessarily calling Gabriel a cheat. It's just this is how it's all transpired. More recently, more than not, there's kind of been a lot of smoke, and more often than not, where there's smoke, there's a bit of fire. But at the same time, the decision was out. It was made. It ended up with a great grand finals with a Gardevoir Jellicent Mirror. There were 2 other finals as well. Of course, we've just spoken about the younger divisions. We had Haruki, who defeated Reed in the juniors division. I think he was playing Grimmsnarl, if I'm not mistaken. And the seniors, I think Luca had won with Golden Go. So that against Pidgeot Control, I believe it was, beating
3 different
Camille in the seniors.
3 different decks winning all 3 different age divisions, which is pretty cool to see. We also had
we can just touch.
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say we can just really just focus on the Masters division. The grand finals, I guess, is probably the area that we watch the most. You know, these are 2 very accomplished players in their own right. I think Sebastian is a former world's finalist in the seniors division, if I'm not mistaken. And Pedro Patuzzi has always been someone who's been an incredible player out of that region, sort of that core contingent of players who work and play test together, like him, William Azevedo, I think it's like Rafael Uiti as well, like these kind of well-known players from the region. And it was in the end a Brazilian who took it home and kept the LAIC trophy in Brazil as well. But did you guys? I'm assuming, Joe, I know you watched the games. Ben, did you catch any of the games at all?
Yeah. It was an interesting final. I don't think it was the final that the viewers would have wanted, only because it was a Gardevoir mirror, and not only a Gardevoir mirror, but a Gardevoir Jellicent mirror. So I think the viewers at home would have liked a bit of variation. But I think for the more competitive player, it was actually quite an entertaining finals. And there's a lot of intricacies when it comes to this mirror specifically as well. Item lock, obviously a big factor into it. And with that comes resource management and making the right players at the right time. Specifically, there was a lot of it was like a duel, wasn't it? You know, who shoots first type of thing. I was trying to make a cool analogy for that, but I couldn't think of a cool enough one and went for the duel instead. But yeah, it was good. It was a good final. And Pedro, Pedro came home the quite. I don't know. I don't want to say it too harshly to Sebastian, but I think Pedro definitely did.
Sebastian prized 3 monkey in one of the games, so he can't play that brilliantly, can he?
No.
Oh, what an idiot! He prized all 3. Pedro is so much better.
I mean, game 1, I think it was a mixture of the whole monkey Dories being prized, but also like just not being able to get any psychic energies in the discard as well, right? Or just psychic energies in general. Yeah. Was Jellicent's not only locking out items if it's in the active slot with its ability, it locks out tools as well. So then you can't even get into things like technical machine evolutions or try and burst your way through upwards to the right Pokemon. And then typically these lists don't play bosses orders now. Some lists do fit in or squeeze in something like an Iron Bundle alongside their artisans to try and combat this. But this matchup generally was just something which, I mean, like a couple of small nuances, but they generally was lean heavily into Frillish, Oceanic Gloom into Oceanic Curse of Jellicent, and then work your way around that, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen 2 Gardevoir Jellicent lists and thought that they were very, very different from each other. So there's only ever going to be 1 or 2 card differences.
I mean, Pedro played a nice hybrid with Drifloon, which came up in other matchups way more, I would say. And I think going forward, the hybrid is a cool choice, especially with things like Mega Diancie coming out, which we'll talk about Phantasmal in a moment. But I think that really punishes the jelly. So having both modes seems like the right move, and I don't think Pedro sacrificed too much space to make it happen either. So it seems to be a very tidy list, I would say.
Also playing cards like the Mystery Garden, which we see sometimes come into a number of lists as well. But yeah, I think his cut was like maybe going down just to 1 counter catcher. Often we do sometimes see 2 being played as your sort of gusting options in these types of lists. But if you're facing up against other Frillish and Jellicent EX, you don't really want counter catchers anyway because they're pointless. But yeah, congratulations, Pedro. He did win LAIC. He is your LAIC champion for 2026 and the first international champion of the season. Right. What do we have next on the agenda? I can't actually remember.
Phantasmal. We're moving on. New meta.
Phantasmal Flames.
Wow, I didn't want to look at our tier list, but it's fine. Phantasmal Flames.
We can do our tier list.
Oh yeah. Go on.
We did have it up,
okay.
right? I wanted to just have a quick look back to what we thought was going to be the quote unquote best plays. Using data as our foundation for our decision making, of course. Unlike many others.
They're mostly going off vibes more than anything else.
we tried.
So we had. I'll whittle off our tier list. So in D.
Can we not? Can we just say generally that we were good?
Yeah, so I think that's all we really need to say.
I mean,
right?
ultimately, Dengo was littering the cut. Jelly was on top, which we said is the build. Absol Kangaskhan, even with the acknowledgement that there was going to be Dengo tech, we still thought it was really strong. No ends or arc showed up this time.
But we did say that was a tough, not necessarily an easy play, because we said it was like, it had to be in the hands of quote unquote the right person.
Yeah, we did.
And I think also we kind of bravely identified Dragodust not like that A tier play. Like, yes, there was Justin in top cut with it, but ultimately, if you see the top 32 and 64, there's only a couple of Dragodust, and the other 3 were sort of on top. So I think we actually did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. I agree. A pat on the back for us. Can we do it again for Phantasmal Flames? I think that's a nice easy segue into, what's coming up next weekend, or this weekend, I should say, because we've had Phantasmal Flames now released, and it is 3 weeks, right? As the marker point for it to be legal in tournament play, which will be on the Friday. Yeah. And on Saturday, we're coming back to Europe for Stuttgart Regional Championships, where Phantasmal Flames may change the meta slightly, but according to Joe's data, which again, we do not endorse because we don't like using data, we're pure vibes, it doesn't really change much. Joe, do you want to quickly just highlight a couple of things quickly from a deck perspective?
I've got Joe's graphic up now for the viewers.
In terms of what new additions come in to decks?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean, about 10% of the Dengos play the new Megalopony. Otherwise, it's Dengo that we know, and that's being very played and popular. Draga does gain the new Dawn supporter, which is probably the most impactful card, I want to say, of Phantasmal Flames. You can search for a basic, a stage 1 and a stage 2. Clearly, that's a good supporter that can come in as a 1 or 2 counts within Draga Pult, where we've seen the Hilders, where we've seen the odd copy of Research, where we've seen the odd copy of Jacques. I think a 2 count of Dawn really makes a lot of sense there, because it can also grab Fez plus Drakcloak plus something else just to get you into the game as well if you need to. It can help you get that Budu. It can help you get Horlucha as well, which normally you're kind of starved for your Ultra Balls in those spots. So Dawn is definitely a good card in there. Surprisingly, Zard is on the incline. Dragazard is making a bit of a resurgence. Not a crazy amount, but it's definitely in its own right worth noting, and that it's with Chiyu quite good into Gongo, and then still can fight the fight into Gardevoir. You're just sacrificing the Dragodusk matchup a little bit, but also it can play Dawn quite comfortably, which is nice. As you can see, I think a big drop up. We've just seen Guardy and Jelly Guardy matching each other on stats, and that's way out of funk in Phantasmal, because Mega Diancie I think is brutal for Jellicent to deal with. Because it naturally hits 240 for 2 Psychic Energy, right? So you can power up without a Guardy being in play. It naturally discards energy for you as well, which is some of the problem of being under item lock. And also with 1 Monkey, you can knock out the Jellicent, and often because Jellicent has to load up its own damage, if they haven't found their Monkey in time, it's going to immediately be wiped off the board. So I think it is rightfully going to be back towards a Turbo Guardy, with Mega Diancie being a big inclusion, not just for Jelly Guardy, but also because it's weak to metal, not dark. It gives you more fight into Zorro, Grim, Zard, and all sorts, really. It's also a finisher into Dengo, where previously you needed to save your Bravery Charms to the late game sort of thing. So it lets you be more proactive with your single prizes, and then you still have Diancie to finish. So yeah, I think Guardy is gaining a new attacker, and it's a good one. And then Zard, just to round out the top decks of the meta Zard is making that resurgence as well. Still very much the Pidgeot on top. Also benefits from Dawn, I would say. And possibly even like the new Moltres that comes in that can hit some EXs as well pretty nicely, similar to Chi-Yu. But then also there's this small bit of Noctowl Wellspring Zard coming into the equation where you can Dawn for a Terra basic, then you can get Noctowl, then you can get either Pidgeot or Zard, and that leads to a very consistent turn 2 Wellspring attack, and then you have Zard as the follow-up, because you get to put 2 fire onto the Wellspring and 1 fire onto the backup Zard. So sometimes you'll have Pidgeot already developed as well as everything else. Sometimes you will just need a fire energy after an INO to like put the pressure on again with a Zard. So it's like a Terra box, but has way easier follow-up play than a Terra box that has to constantly find its next Crispin, its next basic, its next this, that, and the other. So I think that's genuinely like pretty terrifying, and is another nod to like how good Wellspring is in the meta game. But really, it's the tweaks to the top 3 or 4 that we've seen that I think are going to continue to dominate Phantasmal. We can talk more in detail about the new cards and like potential new archetypes popping up as well if you want. But that seems to be like still the top 4 in the meta.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Cheers for that overview. Because again, some of these like kind of decks, especially Charizard, Terra Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the right way of saying it, but
Wet Zard.
Charizard. Yeah, like, just I was just like, this is a normal Zard. But the
Dawn
Zard
Zard,
is
I don't
something
know.
that we've seen before, like small little snippets like coming out of Japan. I mean, I've had friends who have tried the archetype as well, and it always feels like, you know, it needs like 1 or 2 pieces, and then maybe Dawn, it kind of helps to unlock that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna see a few other decks that suddenly like become a thing because of Dawn as well, right? Alakazam was one that's popping off because of Dawn. I know you had your lovely video on it, Joe. But again, just being able to essentially draw like, I don't know, like 9 cards or whatever craziness you get with it, because of that supporter, it just makes your attack really, really strong. Ben, anything fun from your perspective? I know you like your kooky little decks.
I mean, looking
and
at
Marowak is not on here.
looking at Phantasmal Flames, I think everybody had the same consensus that there was no strong archetype specifically coming out of the set. There was nothing that was going to be dominating the meta from the off. I think the set was more or less going to be a set that would bring add-ons to the existing archetypes, like Joe's already said. But there were a few interesting cards that were in its own right. So you have the Sharpedo, which is on this graphic here, which with the Toxtricity does make itself. You also had the Mega Gengar as well, Mega Lot Bunny as well. I've seen in its own deck, but nothing too strong. I think the power in this set comes from those individual cards that will be splashable in other things like the Dawn and the Mega Diancie and say the Mega Charizard, things like that.
Should we look at some highlight cards then? Should we just highlight some of the ones you were mentioning then?
Yeah. Well, not Mega Heracross, that's for sure.
Hey, excuse you. Me and Joe both have our favorite Pokemon featured in this set, and they're not very good, but at least mine's a grass type.
Is there a Napoleon?
Stuff, all right? Leave me alone.
Oh, there is a Napoleon.
Yeah, that's an Napoleon.
Oh, there's the Piplup
He's
thingy,
metal.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Piplup illustration. Right.
Anyway.
We have the Mega Charizard XEX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lex is there. With the Inferno X attack 90 times, discard any amount of fire energy from among your dip Pokemon. And this attack does 90 damage for each card you discarded this way. Coming out of Japan, I've definitely seen this card be splashed in and out of the existing Charizard deck as a potential last bang 2 prizes sort of card.
Last bang.
Yeah, I know. It's getting to that time now, isn't it? And I've also seen it in connection with the Oricorio EX coming from this set as well, with the Excited Turbo ability. So I'll just read it off as often as you like. During your turn, if you have any Fire Mega Evolution Pokemon EX in play, you may use this ability, attach a basic Fire Energy card from your hands to one of your benched Pokemon. And then obviously in combination with the Inferno X. Definitely a strong hitter. I've definitely seen those cards coming out. You know,
but is it? I guess I pose this to both of you. Is it too much to try to utilize this combo? Like I said, we've seen that new Mega Charizard EX kind of splash into the typical Terra Charizard decks.
I mean, if Charizard has anything to prove, it's that it can play an unlimited amount of one-offs apparently. So you know, it's not. It wouldn't be too much to say to bring these two in for something else, but you know, it's whether you value having that one hit knockout and the HP as a buff as well. It's whether you value that, I suppose, and of course, being that it's fire instead of dark, you also have that added element as well.
So yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say, as the poster boy of the set, when you've already got a Terra Charizard EX which hits hard towards the latter stages of the game, and this doesn't accelerate any energy, yes, it's a slight bit bigger, 360 HP, but why would those even bother considering this? I suppose because you need more resources to super rod energy back in for.
So my case for it is that A, it's a cornerstone answer, and B, against Absol Kangaskhan, this is actually pretty important as your first guy. Now I know you need to make 2 Zards to make it useful, but I think you are given the license to sit back as they are going to sit back into you, and rather than try and 2-shot and allow the monkey math, you just vomit energy and knock out their first Mega, and then you have the follow up of just the Dark EX as well. So that's my case for it being a one-of in Zard Pidgeot, and it is popular out there. But it is going to be matchup specific rather than like, oh, this is great, I've somehow got 4 stage 2s up every game and this is great. Like, it's very precise as to why you would want it and when.
I can see the benefit in it only because it does give you that ability to take 2 early prizes with a big swing.
Exactly. It's the one thing Zard can't do.
That Zard can't currently do. Yeah, agreed.
It does put you in a precarious board spot sometimes. So it very much it very much is a case where you have to maintain hand attachments and this, that, and the other. And sometimes we do see the one Oricorio even in regular Pidgeot Zard, just so that you can do that little bit of vomit and have 1 energy floated on the Terra still for after the Mega gets knocked out or not.
It's why more often than not it'll be your last 2 or 3 prizes taken with this card, only because.
Well, I don't think it is that way round. Not against Absol Kangaskhan.
I think it will only because.
Well, no, I'm telling you, it's not.
So
you have to, everything has to have gone right for it to be the last 2, and then Zard has to not have enough damage.
I'm just thinking because of the higher HP cost with the Megas now. I think this is a good inclusion to have to take those last 2 or 3 prizes. Because you have that.
So Moltres is good.
It's because you have that unlimited damage output. With Zard, you're only hitting 300.
I mean,
go on.
Yeah. Completely agree. Having to hit high numbers is a very important factor. I think at the moment in the meta game that we've currently got, we are filled with plenty of 2 prizes which don't have that level of HP, which therefore can be knocked out by typically a smaller Zard EX, which is kind of it, right?
I caveat that I agree with Joe that it kind of has that pivot option. It has the option to take only 2 prizes on a high Pidgeotmon, and it also has the benefit of taking those last 2 to 3 prizes. I think it has a dual option.
On top of the big Mega Charizard X, it does have the Charmer, the Charmeleon, which has a little buff in HPs as well. I don't know if you still would play necessarily more than 1 copy of the 80 HP one. It does have free retreat if it has no energy attached.
Free retreat, which is really big.
But it's not buddy poffinable, so you are most likely going to be playing 1, if that. The 110 HP Charmeleon is actually maybe the extra 10 HP could be quite useful at times. But the other decks that play any sort of level of fire energy or luminous energy can fit in this Moltres, which Joe touched on as well. 120 HP, Fighting Wings, 20 plus 90 if your opponent's active Pokemon is an Pokemon EX in the active spot. So with Justifier, you are KOing the Teal Mask Ogre on EXs, which are kind of nice, easy targets to take down. If you do play any sort of damage buff tools, like maybe something like a Defiance Band or Maximum Belt, I guess that's your way into swinging into things like the Golden Go EXs as well. I mean, just hitting for weakness. I think just having this easy, low energy, low maintenance attacker is quite a nice thing to go into those kind of two prize of Pokemon, right?
This feels most important in Dragapult actually at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
Where Draga Dusk is actually starting to fall off because its Dengo matchup is too shaky with the amount of card draw they have from Ionos. So giving yourself just a raw race option with like stretching back Molts seems pretty good to me. And I think that's going to be a big adjustment. Because obviously like Zardiax can already play Chi-Yu, and it probably will still choose Chi-Yu over the Moltres, I would imagine. But I think exactly for Draga, this is a pretty good upgrade to stabilize that matchup. And then there'll be random decks that are like panicking that they can't beat Golden Go and will try this. And don't know how effective that'll be because Golden Go is very good at maintaining a single prize board as well, and is often always starting the prize race with a single prize board, so the Molt will continue to not be good, and you could still fall way too far behind. But it could be a band-aid solution for decks generally as well.
Right, that's why I mentioned like decks maybe that are trying to squeeze in like 2 Luminous NG with like a Monkey Dory, and they're suddenly like, actually, you know what? One space to be able to force some real actual pressure with something like this is actually kind of interesting, and it can be a bit of a surprise factor, right?
For sure. So
it's quite unique. I don't think there's too much more to chat about Moltres you want to see.
No.
It's probably kind of interesting to touch on something like Mega Gengar because that we had early sight of it on PTCG Live because of its release in its own battle deck. Has an incredible ability in reality. I mean, another way of sort of quote unquote cheating the game where Shadowy Concealment, where your opponent takes one fewer prize if one of your dark Pokemon is knocked out from your opponent's Pokemon EX. Does a stack, so you only really need the one out. Its attack is probably a bit subpar at 230. I mean, maybe taking the lower HP EXs out. But as a support Pokemon, does this not have any legs? Or has it just not been figured out yet? What's it got?
I think conversations I've had with you two is, what on earth do you put it in? Or what do you build around it? Because it's very high maintenance. It's stage 2. It's an EX. It's 3 prize on your board. Yes, it has that incredible ability, but that attack alone won't be enough to put it in its own deck. So you need to pair it with something else. You have the Toxtricity to accelerate darkness energy, but what to? Like, what are you attacking with? I'm just unsure what you pair it with really, and I think that's the biggest weakness of this deck. Of this card, sorry. And I think the same problem is evident in Japan, where you've just seen it thrown into anything really. I mean, I've even seen it in Charizard EX as a 101 line, but all the other lists that I see where it's paired with Toxtricity, then Sharpedo, or Toxtricity and Brute Bonnet, or Toxtricity, and it just looks like an absolute headache.
I've generally been very disappointed with my Zoro testing with this card in that I know I really wanted it to work, and it, again, Alex, you've just outlined like all the reasons why I thought it would work, but it's very easy for the one-hit KO decks to just target the Gengar first, and then your guys are 2 prizes again, and then you lose the race pretty routinely. So, like I tried this with the Secret Box Grimsley thing, because obviously we've had Gengar for a few additional weeks because it was in the League Battle deck, and then I also tried it with just a 2/1/2 candy package, and just, you know, with Cyrano you can grab this, and when you find your candy you find it, but ultimately I think it's not the cure that we're looking for, which is a real shame because it reads so good, this card. And when you think there's a natural home in Zoro that can do a lot already in the game,
it needs something more. It needs something more, unfortunately.
Yeah, I also tried a pure Gengar, like you said, Ben, with just like Mochis and Janines and stuff like that, and it just was not great.
It doesn't do enough.
I agree.
It's unfortunate.
Let's move on from Gengar then, since and one of my other favorite boys, I'd like to say. The other card that sort of came out and started doing bits at the same time as the Mega Gengar, not Crocodile, Ben. It does have a revenge attack.
Remember, you're live, Ben. Ben, we're live.
I have seen so many decks of Crocodile
No,
coming out of Japan.
carry on.
Grimsley
So
into
fun.
Crocodile into 1 energy attack for, what was it, 220 or something like that?
And I've seen,
Mega
I've seen
Diancie.
I've seen Ambipom as well.
Right, okay. Mega
Right, carry on.
Diancie EX, I feel like is we kind of semi-spoke about it. An easy splashable card that goes into something like Gardevoir. Diamond Coat ability takes 30 less damage. So not only does it, for its first attack, feel like it has 300 HP, it has a consistent kind of, I don't know, not Bravery Charm, but what is it? What was that damage reducing?
Rigid Band, I suppose, would be the...
Yeah.
Or
I was
Hard Charm, I guess
like
we're thinking.
further back somewhere.
Yeah,
Hard Charm.
Hard Charm.
There we go.
Eviolite,
Wow.
who knows?
I think
yeah.
Hard Charm was -20, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
minus 20.
Yeah. Knowledge.
Also played it in a pink fairy deck before.
SID.
Anyway, Garland Ray 120 times 2 for, well, discard up to 2 energies, 120 times the number discarded from this Pokemon. As Joe's already highlighted, great way of just kind of getting energy into the discard anyway. 240 is actually a pretty decent number for a very sort of low maintenance attacker, in a similar way to maybe something like Lily's Clefairy, but you don't need to bench so much. You could just literally have this out. Does give up the free prizes, so it is a big Pokemon. But is this going to bring Gardevoir to continue to be that #1 deck, or should be considered that? Does this help against arguably the most played deck right now, which is Golden Go EX?
Well, it can be an easier finisher. Like, you only need 1 monkey in play for it to be your finisher, which is sometimes relevant. I mean, I feel like it's not starring the show against Golden Go. I think that's not.
I guess the reason why I'm asking is because we had the discussion just a moment ago about Jelly being the less played build, going into the more turbo type build. So therefore, it's a Mega Diancies that come in. Jelly's there that has been historically good for Golden Go, or good into that matchup. But if you don't have Jellies anymore and you're going down this turbo build, are you then just going down this, I'm going to smack you really hard into like the Bravery Charms again, and so on?
I think simply the Jelly build is weaker into Golden Go because Golden Go can play Lopunny now. Like, it's not because of Diancie, it's because Golden Go beats Frillish in a different, like, now can beat Frillish, whereas previously it would really struggle. So I think it's like, because Diancie can bully the Jelly build, there's more reason to play Jelly. But now that we've seen the hybrid Patusi Jelly with a Drifloon, maybe that's still the right way to go, and Diancie's going to see less play than we expect, but because it can benefit, like, it helps a lot into the dark matchups, right? What's also really important is, against the dark matchups, you can just shove 3 or 4 energy onto the Diancie. They 2-prize knock out the Guardy. You've still got a Diancie ready to go. And, like, then you can have that board of, like, now I can only take a 1.5 prize or 1 prize turn, and the Diancie's pumping me back, right? So, like, it lets you go Guardianus for turns, which lets you whiff Candy or play without it for a turn, which is also really relevant, right? So, I think that's the main reason why it has big perks.
Cool.
Yeah, not necessarily. Like, the Dengo thing is a whole different discussion, I think, based on how they're changing as well.
Fine. I'm just trying to glue multiple things together, and it's obviously
Yeah.
But that's fine. This would be really interesting to see later. We probably don't need to speak about Diancie too much because we've already covered it a bit earlier. Ben, I know you love Lopunny, so you can talk about that for a little bit if you want.
That's libelous.
And you love Lopunny.
Mega
Strip me a
Lopunny X.
plush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great attack.
So for 330,
Heard you were doing that. Oh, no,
330 HP. Gale Thrust. If this Pokemon was moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, it 460 plus. This attack does 170 more damage, and then the Spiky Hopper, 2 for 160, and this damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's Pokemon.
Not only clearing off cornerstones,
yes,
but also clearing up against any other kind of wall type Pokemon as well. So it's got a bit of a double-edged opportunity there as an attacker, and quite rightly already mentioned, something that you can splash into things like Golden Go. EX decks has its own deck, which Ben kind of semi-mentioned. I think it's kind of been Mega Lopunny EX with Duskmars to try and bump up the damage output at the same time. Is this the card of the set?
What, the Pokemon of the set? Do you mean? I don't think it's the card of the set. I think Dawn's probably the card. Pokemon of the set, maybe, but that's not. I don't think that's necessarily a compliment. there's not that many Pokemon in this bunch that I can really stick my finger on and depend on, maybe apart from Mega Diancie. But Mega Lopunny definitely has his perks. It's a very efficient attacker. It's got a lot of pluses being colorless because you can splash it into most things. But I think the where I've seen it's being most effective is in the Goldingo, because of, like we've already mentioned, it has that utility against the Cornerstone Ogerpon. Very, very efficiently getting rid of that threat from the board. So it already makes it a very big plus card. But also an archetype in its own right. Not that it's been too impressive, but it can be, like you said, Alex, paired up with that Dusknoir and does have that kind of consistency with the Dusknoir, taking out the Dusknoir from the active, put it in the Mega Lopunny, Gale Thrust, blah blah blah. But I don't think that's going to be making too many moves because this damage is quite low in a Mega Evolution format. I would say you're two-shotting a lot of things, and in a format where we still have healing options like Mega Turo, and just retreating and making it a
Mega Turo.
Sorry. What did I say? Mega Turo.
Wally and Turo. I think.
Turo. Professor.
You called it Mega Turo.
Mega Turo. Mate, what would he do? That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no. Good card. But a 3 out of 5.
Anything else to add, Joe? Otherwise, we can have a look at like one or two of the trainers, and then we can kind of move on from this, I think.
I mean, just very quickly, the Hilda synergy with Jet is huge with Lopunny. You can mist it, which is important. And it's also got fan call searchability, which I think is a really good deal. So you can have early fan call turn 1 pressure in a deck with 4 Jets. So you can hit the 70, then have the pressure from Gale Thrust. I don't think the Dusk build is too real, but I do like it as a tech inclusion. And I think it's probably better than Mawile and Lucario that we've seen in Dengo, and probably is worth the space in my book.
It's definitely the best option for Goldingo when it comes to Pokemon to try and beat Cornerstone.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because the upside is it's just much more useful in all sorts of other matchups. Like it's very good against Frillish, and it's also just like at any point, I'm whiffing my superiors, I can at least boss and KO something.
Big HP
or Prime Catcher. We've seen.
Or Prime. We love a good Prime synergy. Yeah.
Big HP. Good. I'd say consistent attacker with low energy requirements. Yeah, it's always going to be splashable, but it's going to be splashable. It's going to be used as a tech, not in its own right. I'll die on that hill.
All right, let's move on from Pokemon because we've spoken about Dawn already. I don't think we need to really kind of throw up Dawn. We kind of already semi-called it our card of the set. Search the deck for basic, stage 1 and stage 2. We won't put them into your hand. Are there any others that people should be considering right now? I know you boys. Well, I was going to say you both love your cream.
Oh yes. Fill me up.
Jumbo ice cream. It's just been like one of his go-to cards for a little bit. I'm still trying to figure out why. But he'll 80 damage.
You don't get it.
When that has 3 or more energy attached. Yeah, I mean, it's very good. Battle Cage is also like kind of one of those things which is kind of cool and kind of decent, but there's plenty of very good stadiums out there now as well. But that prevents all damage counts from being placed off bench Pokemon. Wondrous Patch. I mean, we don't need that level of energy acceleration necessarily right now, but it will be good at some stage.
I always remember Joe's very, very early buy list videos, and when he used to talk about cards that, just put it in your binder, it'll be good someday. And that's definitely one of these cards, because there will be a good psychic Pokemon, especially once Guard rotates. That acceleration engine is definitely gone, so it's definitely one of those cards to keep, put it in the binder. And maybe, who knows, it'll be another dark.
You never know. You could be making a Lapras Quag to a League Cup win.
Exactly. Keep those aqua patches. You never know what might happen.
I genuinely think Ice Cream is busted, by the way. Ice Cream is
Ice Cream is right. Really good.
I think it could go into Absol Kang. I think it can go into. I think it makes Bouffalont Kang a real deck. I've been playing a lot of that on ladder. It's very good for annoying quad-crustal Ogerpon Milotic stuff, like embarrassingly so. I mean, if you face these wall stalls, you're just going to be like weeping. Yeah, I think it's genuinely very good.
I just like the fact that your two like laddering decks are Jumbo Ice Cream Kang and Future Box.
Future Box. Joe
Right,
loves
you
Future Box.
no need to talk about my personal life.
Yeah. Anyway,
Joe does love
there's-
Future Box.
I've mostly
the
been
other-
playing. Yeah, I've been
That
playing
is
this in Golden Go in my
confirmed lore.
defense. The future was the Mega Evolution climbing deck. Link in the description.
No,
Okay,
but in a format where we have such high HP costs and not a lot of big one-hit knockouts on Mega Evolution Mega Pokemon, apart from if you're playing Golden Go, let's say, I think Jumbo Ice Cream makes up for some pretty awkward situations. I think it's a really good card.
All right. Okay. I mean, there's a couple of other questionable looking trainer cards that I don't really want to touch on too much. No, well, Blowtorch. I was thinking Punk Helmet, Sacred Charm looks a bit. Anyway, we can move on from this. Phantasmal Flames is going to be legal for the next tournament. Stuttgart. I know we've kind of taken up a lot of time already, so quick predictions, I guess. I mean, Joe, we've looked at the data, which we shouldn't do. So based on vibes, Joe, your prediction for Stuttgart Regionals?
Absol Kang with 2 ice creams win.
Creamy Absol and creamy Kang. Okay, great.
2 scoops of Kang. Come on.
Your Benjamin,
in a cone or in a bucket?
A cone, obviously.
Waffle cone.
Waffle cone.
Yeah.
Stick a flake in it.
Benjamin, for you? Anything that you want to be keeping an eye out for?
I mean, I've always said Gardevoir. I may as well stick to it.
You are boring, aren't you?
I know, I really am. But I think Dawn will make a good showing.
Dawn's hard. Come on, say it.
Yeah, I think Dawn will make a good show.
I personally would just love to see someone make Gengar do quite well, and like finish in a cash position with Mega Gengar. Top 32.
It's just not gonna happen, Alex.
Have faith in the boy. But I'd rather I have to say that rather than Mega Heracross. So
that's a good point.
Anyway,
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there's much else. We probably could spend hours talking about this. We're in a format now, I think, where this is probably like the penultimate set before we whittle down with rotation and things like that, or at least historically looking at some of the numbers. So we actually got a massive card pool at this current moment in time, right? And we're due another one at some stage that kind of has already been leaked and been announced. I think even the Pokemon Center ETBs went up today, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot more Pokemon.
Rab, you're just going on to Sky Sports Live right now, are you?
No.
I don't know if he's live. I think he's off.
No,
He's just showing us.
I'm not recording that. Don't worry.
Yes, United lost. Okay.
Can we all just do the Dewsbury Hall celebration now together?
Did you see us? He did the Lissandro Martinez like snake attack into the bloody flag for. Did you see Idrissa Gueye's fucking? I'm swearing now. He slapped Michael Keane in the face. Oh, what is going on?
What a game!
Anyway.
Did United do it?
I don't even want to talk to you guys anymore. I'm done. That's it.
25
you had loads of possession though.
6 on target. That is really bad.
We could have been in top 4 if we won today, but no. We're bloody useless.
So who's at Stuttgart then? Who's in Stuttgart? Who's in the field?
Me and Alex.
We're going to be in Stutt. Yeah, you're going to be off in the States
across the pond.
enjoying.
I've got so much to be thankful for.
Festive period.
First time I'm thankful for anything. So
say it exactly
I've got
that way.
31 years of thanks to give. It's going to be like an Oscars speech.
When you're at the table, say it exactly like that.
What? I've
so
got so much to be thankful for.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next, please. Next.
What else am I? Oh God, what else am I thankful for?
So
Is that,
bloody.
is that the Oprah meme? That
thankful.
you get a bit of thanks.
Yeah.
You get a bit of thanks.
I'm terrified that it's going to come to me first, and I'm going to do it wrong. Like I want to hear a few before I start.
I'm immediately gonna
shedding a
message
tear.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Joe's got something he needs to get off his chest to be thankful for. So
Like, am I
just
meant to stand? Am I? Is it
I want you
am
to,
I putting my hands together, eyes closed?
As we found out that your your actual recent heritage, Joe, are you? There must be loads that for you to be, as a Jew, as a Jewish man.
Right, what is this?
Is this norm? Is this the norm? You're gonna get a turkey twice this year. This is gonna be great.
Well, I'm certainly thankful for that. That's the first on my list that I'm thankful for.
There you go. We've done it.
That's
We figured it
one.
out.
Yeah, I'm like,
Feeling.
I'm feeling it like a sort of like a speech where you sort of get a couple of quips in, a little bit of serious, get some heartstrings tugged, then come back around with a sneaky laugh at the end, and then cheers to that.
Sounds like you're
Yeah.
writing Ben's.
It's like a best man speech. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Already, I'm so thankful for this turkey. We're gonna open with that.
Cause
Anyway,
for laughter.
Let's call it there. We're gonna have a great weekend. We'll catch up at some point next week, I'm sure. But yeah, this has been the SpilltheTeaCG podcast. If you've been hanging around this whole time, please try and subscribe to this to give us a little bit of support. That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye.